Digimon just had one of its heaviest, darkest episodes possibly ever, tackling deeply real topics like PTSD and survivor's guilt in a show that most people think is just evolving monsters punching each other. After this episode I'm talking about, there is no disputing that the newest season, Digimon Beatbreak, is on another level. If it wasn't obvious already, Digimon has grown up with its audience. Welcome to the channel where we talk Millennium Era anime as well as their sequels and reboots, a ton of Digimon, some Beyblade, Metabots, Shaman King for good measure. I'm trying to get better at asking for things, so please do me the favor of hitting subscribe. You don't have to ring the bell, I don't care, but subscribe and help this one person channel reach the 100,000 subscriber milestone. Before we talk episode 16, we've got to catch up on 15. If you want to go straight to 16, the episode I talked about in the intro, don't hesitate to use the timestamps. 15, Little Courage, is the closest thing Beatbreak has had to a filler episode, just in the sense that the core human cast was largely absent. There was a focus on baby Digimon in a relatively low-stakes feeling story, but even then, Little Courage refused to be a purely filler episode by giving us new insights into Reina and Pristimon's early days. Remember, this is a pair that had already achieved champion evolution at the start of the series, so a deeper understanding of their past is something we've yet to see. While Pristimon is coaching the weak and nervous baby Digimon of the Nirinso shelter, she tells them what Reina told her when they first became cleaners. When you want to chicken out, that's when you move forward. It's an opportunity to get stronger. Knowing Reina held this mindset recontextualizes things. The girl who's been boldly rushing headfirst into battles since episode 1 is secretly terrified, or at least sometimes she is, and she used to be scared a lot more. It's new information that adds depth to a character that could have easily been a superficial enforcer. And that's not the only noteworthy it's not filler moment of the episode. This whole scenario with the baby Digimon of Nirinso standing up and defending the humans from Red Vegemon proves Kyo's thesis for the Nirinso project, that Digimon aren't inherently evil and that everyone can be reformed. Remember, these tiny monsters are previous enemies that Kyo and the others once battled. We see that Kyo's vision of reforming rather than deleting Digimon is working. Last of all, the Kinoko gang back from episode 2 are now the guardians of Nirinso, or at least volunteer security guards. It's nice to see that these goofballs from episode 2 came back around, as it means Beatbreak doesn't abandon side characters after their initial stories. Do we see Haruko and Shademon return later down the road? I hope so. So episode 16, Where I Belong, is an episode that pushes Digimon into bold, mature, and relevant subject matter. With Granite of Tactics Team 7 and Reina of Glowing Dawn separated from their groups, transported to an inhospitable, snowy mountain terrain, we get heavy flashbacks to both of these characters' childhoods. We discovered that Granite, who once went by the name Luca, spent at least a portion of his childhood in a refugee camp, the displaced victim of an unnamed war or invasion. In a flashback, we see him crouched down, covering his ears to drown out the sound of rockets overhead. Luca has one real friend in their camp, a girl named Stella, who tragically dies in an explosion when one force in the conflict breaches treaty and attacks the refugee camp. Ludomon was born from Luca's Sapotama, seemingly from the anguish and despair of the child felt just as the bombs were dropping. Ludomon's armored shield managed to protect Luca from the explosion, but we see the surrounding area is completely flattened. This has got to be the most cruel world a Digimon season has ever depicted. We've seen the signs of injustice all throughout Hikarigahama, our main city setting, and the surrounding slums, but bringing the viewer into a refugee camp where Luca spent his childhood is next level. Digimon choosing to have a story touching on the child victims of war crimes, especially at this moment in time, feels incredibly poignant. There's also the fact that Granite/Luca is depicted as a darker-skinned character, clearly non-Japanese. This too feels meaningful, deliberate, and powerful, as if the writers are communicating this conflict, this tragedy, is happening somewhere outside our home country, but is still worth caring about, even if it's not happening in our immediate proximity. And of course, all of that violence and tragedy has created the quiet, distant Granite we see in the present. This teen is suffering from survivor's guilt, seeming to be the only refugee to make it out alive after that bombing. A couple episodes ago, when we first met the Tactics crew, Ludomon did not digivolve to champion like the others. I have to imagine that Ludomon is not yet capable of evolving, because Granite, the source of that power, cannot see a future, cannot see a path forward. Granite is treating every mission as an opportunity to die. Perhaps Granite will have some kind of I want to live for the future breakthrough that will result in a Ludomon evolution sequence down the road. But Granite's flashback wasn't the only one we got this week. We go into Reina's past too and learn that when she was 8 years old, her parents disappeared. Similar to Tomoro's missing parents, we don't yet get to learn why. We hear authorities tried to pass Reina off to a relative, possibly an aunt or distant cousin, who goes, "She may be a relative, but I don't want someone with parents like hers." Reina was then put into an orphanage, and she ran away from the orphanage and began moving from different cleaner teams, they're bounty hunters in this world, before landing with Kyo's Glowing Dawn team. Kyo tells Tomoro, quote, "She must have been looking for a place to belong. The reason she runs in ahead in battle and obsesses over money must be because she wants to feel that she's being useful." That last bit about wanting to feel useful really hit me. Imagine you're 8 years old, your parents abandoned you, the extended family you have refuses you, and the government puts you into a home with other orphans. Of course she would have colossal abandonment issues and self-worth issues. It makes sense that she feels this need to prove herself constantly. Between the last 2 episodes, we learned that when she's rushing headfirst into battle, she is 1, probably terrified, and 2, doing it because she wants to prove her worth because she's scared of disappointing Glowing Dawn and being alone again. Far deeper stuff than I was expecting when I saw the trailer for a new Digimon anime about drumming and music. Together they bait the Moosemon into using that ultimate attack that caused the first rift in space-time, hoping that a new rift will get them back to where they belong. There's a shot where Ludomon shields Wolvermon. Ludomon protecting her is what the Mon did for Luca back when the refugee camp was first bombarded, but I think the visual is also supposed to show us what Luca wished he could have done for Stella on that day. I found this quite moving as well. So, an extremely powerful episode of Beatbreak, one of the heaviest topics and settings Digimon has ever explored. I know that Time Stranger the game and Beatbreak the anime have entirely different writing teams, but without getting into spoilers for the game, Digimon is kind of on this anti-war ceasefire now kick that is bold and admirable. Can't say much more without spoiling that game, so I will stop there, but this is 2 times now in the last few months Digimon has shocked me with what it had to say about war, indirectly of course, through fictional scenarios, but again, the message is loud and clear. Okay, you might be wondering where my episode 17 review is, confession time, but I was not able to include a review for it in this week's video. I'm part of this bachelor outing thing for an upcoming wedding, and I don't know if I can explain to the groom that I need to leave early to watch Digimon, write the review, record myself yapping, and post it in time for Sunday morning. I'm sure you'll understand. We'll cover episode 17 in our next episode review batch. Also, thanks for checking out my book this month. I wrote an anime-inspired light novel, Dot Monster Revolution, released in December 2024. Randomly, the sales kind of spiked in January, which was a total surprise. If it's your first time hearing about it, it's really my dream season of Digimon, inspired by 02, Persona 5, Metabots, Summer Wars. It's an original story, but influenced by Millennium-era monster taming stories. I'll have links in the description to the ebook, the paperback edition, and even an audio reading of the first 25 minutes if you wanted a sample. Remember to subscribe. It's totally free. Help me reach my dream of building a 100,000 subscriber channel. Comment below to let me know your thoughts on these latest episodes, how you're feeling about Beatbreak now at episode 17. Where does it rank among seasons for you? Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.